Most of the formats we've covered in this module are flat and relatively thin. However, occasionally you'll get oversized pieces like this that have been stored in a tight roll. The most common examples we see of this are wide panoramic photos, large poster-sized photos, and large class photos or military photos like this from the early 1900s. The temptation is to uncurl the photo like you've discovered ancient artifacts, but the simple act of uncurling a curled photograph can cause a lot of damage. In order to uncurl a rolled print without damaging the image, we use a special humidification process. This works with fiber-based prints that feel like paper. It's not going to work well with resin or plastic prints that are more modern. So you also want to start in the morning so that you don't set this up late in the day, leave it unattended overnight, and then wake up to an unexpected problem in the morning. If the print is brittle or it has any cracks in the surface, and this one is already starting to crack a little bit, we really want to humidify this print first before we unroll it or scan it. So here's how we create a humidification chamber in our studio. We start with a plastic underbed box. This is going to be the airtight chamber where the magic happens. We'll set this in a low traffic area where it won't be in the way and it won't be accidentally disturbed. Then we pour about a 1/4 inch of distilled water into the bottom of the box. It's important that the water be room temperature and not warm because we don't want steam or condensation, just humidity. Then we put several clear glass votive holders in the bottom of the box. I bought these at IKEA, and we use clear glass because we want an inert material that won't interact with the photo, the water, or any other materials. Next, we arrange 1 to 2 wire cooling racks on the top of the glass votives. It's important to add the water before the cooling racks because we don't want the racks to get any water on them. The water level must be below the level of the racks, and this surface is where the photo will rest during the humidification process. Next, you'll want a piece of 100% polyester fabric in white. This keeps the photo from interacting with the racks or anything else that's a natural material. You don't want a blended fabric like a polycotton blend because you don't want any natural cotton fibers adhering to the fibers in the photo paper. You also don't want any dyes in the fabric, which is why we use white. So you'll cut it so it's just large enough to fit on top of the cooling rack, but you don't want any fabric hanging off the edge, getting wet, and transferring water directly to the photo print. When you have all that set up, you'll place the curled photo in the center of the rack and on top of the fabric, and then you'll attach the lid. At first, I recommend checking the humidification chamber regularly to make sure there's no condensation in the container and there's no wetness directly on the curled photo. Remember, the goal is to humidify the paper, not get it wet. Continue to check on your curled photo, but be patient. This process can take hours or days for the photo to be relaxed enough to uncurl without damage. I know some folks say you shouldn't leave a photo in a humidification chamber overnight or for a certain number of hours, but with really bad cases, I've left photos in humidification chambers for multiple days. Just be careful that you don't leave the photo in the chamber so long that you start growing mold. So check on it regularly, and when the photo feels more pliable, you'll need a few more items to press the humidified photo into a flat, even surface. When the photo's been humidified, oftentimes you'll notice it feels a little cool to the touch, and then we're going to use a large table surface that won't be disturbed. And on that table, we lay down a large piece of blotting paper that's a little bit larger than the photograph. Then we lay down a fresh piece of 100% polyester fabric. Then I lay the photo down on top of the fabric. After that, I'll lay one more piece of 100% polyester fabric on top of the print. Then I'll add another piece of blotting paper to the top, so it's like a symmetrical sandwich. Then on top of that, I'll set a large flat surface such as a piece of masonite, acrylic, Sintra, or just a heavy mat board. At the end, we'll add weight such as heavy books to the top of this stack, and we'll let the weight press the photo. Remember, you want to press the photo, but you don't want to crush it. At this point, I'll let the photo rest a day or more until it's dry. And then you can unstack the top layers and examine the print. With some patients, your curled photo will now be flat, dry, and ready to scan and ready for long-term storage.